This video, you will learn all that there is be needed to know about happiness and well-being according to the science of positive psychology. And this is the fifth part in a video series about positive psychology, focusing on well-being and the emergence of this as a scientific concept. If you don't know me, I am Luc Thomas. I'm an organizational psychologist based in Amsterdam. This is also where I gained my master title in psychology, and I've been involved with psychology for over 10 years now. I also really like personal development and making the link between personal development and psychology, and positive psychology that is the closest to personal development. And therefore, I'm the person to tell you anything about it. In this video, you will learn how this concept of well-being emerged, what the benefits are, and how, and even you can measure it for yourself with a questionnaire. So it's going to be quite awesome and exciting. So Ed Diener pioneered this. He is also considered Dr. Happiness because he wrote more than 200 papers on well-being and happiness. A PhD professor of psychology over 30 years. Unfortunately, he passed away, but his legacy is basically that he defined and popularized the subjective well-being or happiness dimension as we be, as a questionnaire, and we will talk about what the definition is. So it's the scientific construct for happiness and life satisfaction, and there's a cognitive component, so your overall life satisfaction, let's say, and then there is also an affective or an emotional component. So, and this is to do with the balance between positive emotion on one side and the negative emotion on the other side, and the balance between. So if you have very high positive emotion and very high negative emotion, you have zero. But if you have very low positive emotion and very low negative emotion, you also have zero. But you are less stable, but also with less positive and good emotions. So he made two questionnaires which are very famous. The Satisfaction with Life questionnaire. It's a 5-item questionnaire which is used all over the world. And then there is the scale of positive and negative experience, the SPANE. And this is a little bit longer, but still it's very easy to do. I put the links in the description, and I think it's very worthwhile to see how you score on this. This is more like the cognitive side, like we talked about, but even I think the most interesting thing is the balance between positive and negative emotion. How is this for you? And you can also see what emotions you experience that might be positive or might be negative that you might want to increase or decrease. Well, Diener's influence on positive psychology, 4 points. Well, he's been the president of the International Positive Psychology Association, and what he also did on a national level, but also a global level, that he really lobbied for this well-being indicator as something that governments or even world institutions should focus on. So he's also famous for claiming the Dow Jones of happiness, so measuring economic output, but then also seeing the happiness also was a very important output. Bhutan is a country that also measures happiness and based it basically on Diener's questionnaires, and the UN as well. So it's a global organization that uses it. So very important. And it protects health, longevity, and social relationship. In previous episode, we talked about the Broaden and Build theory, which focused on positive emotion, which is very close to well-being and happiness. But I think it's good to make the distinction, so you know what it is and what it is not. So to recap shortly, the video is also for you to watch, but here you'll guess the general line of it. So the Broaden and Build is basically about if you have positive emotions, this broadens your scope and you have better experiences, jobs, relationships, and this therefore increases your happiness and the positive emotions feel, and you create a feedback loop. Subjective well-being is more of a macro perspective to see, so you measure this consistently over a long time, and a Broaden and Build theory focuses on direct emotions and the effect of feeling joyful, feeling grateful, and not say the past 4 weeks, how did you feel, and the consequence of these things. So this is the first distinction between the two. The well-being really focuses on big groups to see if there's correlations between the things you measure on a group level, and the Broaden and Build theory is really rooted in more experimental, physiological. So to see what the body does when an emotion experience. So it's a little bit more lab focused with diary methods, etc. And then the broaden and build theory is really focusing on the impact of positive emotions in the here and now, the broaden thinking, and in the end, the building of resources, and claims that negative emotions, although they can be helpful, most of the time they actually narrow the mind and narrow the experience, which decreases the chance of building lasting resources. So there you have it, a very important distinction between the two. In the next video, we will be talking about another founding father of positive psychology, the character strengths, which is important because being happy is good, but doing things that you're good at based on the strengths you have is also very important. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.